It appears that despite the lack of evidence, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy still plans to open an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Now, Punchbowl News reported early on Tuesday, citing anonymous sources, that McCarthy will tell House Republicans in a closed-door meeting that an impeachment inquiry is the quote-unquote logical next step. Of course, that didn't go over well with some of the members of the party, and they're speaking out against those who have been pushing McCarthy in this direction. People like, for example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who up until recently is impeach, impeach, impeach. Now saying, well, yeah, well, okay, maybe yes, let's still impeach, but maybe wait a few minutes. So that said, Ken Buck went on to, take aim at Marjorie Greene for those statements and her position on impeachment. Take a look.
Well, Marjorie filed impeachment, articles of impeachment on President Biden before he was sworn into office more than 2.5 years ago. So the idea that she is now the expert on impeachment, or that she is someone who should set the timing on impeachment, is absurd. The time for impeachment is the time when there's evidence linking President Biden, if there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor. That doesn't exist right now, and it isn't really something that we can say, well, in February we're going to do this. It's based on the facts. You go where the facts take you.
Now, look, he's right about that. And so far, the facts haven't really pointed out anything linking Joe Biden to any of that kind of corruption. Now, again, if you're talking about the kind of corruption that we have legalized in our country through our system of money in politics, getting massive donations from giant donors in, for example, the pharmaceutical industry or the health insurance industry, well, that's a different story. But Ken Buck is not going to go there, and no Republican is going to go there. They're just going to make up what seem to be pretty phony charges of, taking bribes from Ukraine, taking bribes from China. Again, no evidence to support any of that. That said, this segment's more about Republican and Republican crime, so let's get to it. In response, Marjorie Greene told CNN about Buck, quote, "This is the same guy that wrote a book called Drain the Swamp, who is now arguing against an impeachment inquiry. I really don't see how we can have a member on judiciary that is flat out refusing to impeach. It seems like, can he even be trusted to do his job at this point?" What exactly do you think his job is? Is it wasting everybody's time? I mean, that's all that an impeachment inquiry would do at this point. Waste everybody's time. And like a whole bunch of money. Look, if there were evidence of something, perhaps anything, okay, sure, but there's no evidence, is there? No. And you don't do an impeachment inquiry to fish for evidence. No, you're basically doing things backwards if you're doing that, okay? That's not how it works, but there's more. Representative Nancy Mace also flat out told a Fox News host that impeachment is essentially window dressing, saying, quote unquote, it's not going to go anywhere. Yes, true. And finally, well, maybe not finally, but the final video clip that I have here is Chris Christie weighing in on this on Morning Joe. Take a look.
I don't see evidence yet that would support impeaching Joe Biden. And I think we're cheapening impeachment by doing that kind of thing. I criticized Democrats for doing that over the Ukraine issue a number of years ago on impeachment. And I don't want my party to fall a victim to the same thing. But I do think it's important for it to be investigated.
All right. So, look, I would agree that, oh, sure, yeah, go ahead and investigate it. But basically what Chris Christie is saying is, impeachment, really dumb, politically stupid. However, just do endless investigations. I mean, you know how this is supposed to work. Let's just keep dragging it out like we did, Benghazi. Okay, let's do that, because that's a political winner for us. But if we actually do impeachment, well, then that might actually backfire on us. For example, like when we did that to Bill Clinton, kind of backfired on us politically. So it would be, kind of stupid. So how about...
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you, don't do it.
You idiot.
Okay. Now, there's more. Senate Republicans also weighed in. Senator John Cornyn of Texas, a member of the Senate GOP leadership team, told The Hill, quote, "I don't know of anybody who believes Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is a Democrat, by the way, will take it up and actually have a trial and convict a sitting president." Cornyn noted that House Republicans could investigate the Bidens, once again, endless investigations, without launching a formal impeachment inquiry because they control the lower chamber. Since they got the majority, they got the chairman of the various committees. They can do all of that now without going to a formal inquiry. Members of the House don't really care what I think. All I can tell you is it's unlikely to be successful in the Senate. Once again, don't do it. Don't actually do this formal impeachment thing. It's a political loser. Let's just keep doing endless investigations and waste everybody's time and give us lots and lots of fodder for Fox News. You know, in unverified conspiracy theories, things that we can't actually prove, but we can just go and make these allegations, and that helps us politically with our base. Now, oh, by the way, I didn't finish Cornyn's statement here. He said, rather than doing something they know is unlikely to end the way they would like, maybe they want to emphasize other things. Asked if there was enough evidence to impeach Biden, Senator Shelley Moore Capito, another member of the Senate GOP leadership team, replied, quote, I do not. I do not. Senator Marco Rubio, for his part, said attempting to impeach a sitting president should generally be avoided for the interests of the country. Quote, it can't become routine. My big fear remains that at some point you trivialize this. You make it routine. Suddenly it becomes a weapon or tool routinely used by a political party against someone from the other party in power. Again, I think he's correct. I also think he's way too late to the party because that's exactly what Republicans in the House have been promising the entire time. We're gonna go after, we're gonna investigate Biden, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna impeach. So they've already broadcast ahead of time exactly what they were going to do. Representative Don Bacon said House GOP investigators haven't found any smoking gun that would warrant voting on formal impeachment proceedings. Quote, I think before we move on to an impeachment inquiry, there should be a direct link to the president and some evidence. We should have some clear evidence of a high crime or misdemeanor, not just assuming there may be one. I think we need to have more concrete evidence to go down that path. Now, that, by the way, that was Bacon talking to The Hill last month. I'm assuming that his position has not changed. Senator Mitt Romney noted that House Republicans have yet to put forward a specific allegation against Biden. Quote, there hasn't been any allegation yet, any conduct which reaches the constitutional standard for impeachment. So, that said, they all support more investigations, as I mentioned before. Because that's the one thing they all agree is endless investigations of Joe Biden. And for the reasons that I already laid out. But here's what's going to go on, right? Here's what's happening, I should say. The far right wants to impeach Biden as revenge for impeaching Donald Trump. That's it. Kevin McCarthy having to get his job by making deals with the far right, who will, in this case, hold up funding for the government if they don't get what they want. I mean, Matt Gaetz was one of the people that was basically saying, Kevin McCarthy, why are you not impeaching Biden? I'm going to vote for your removal as Speaker of the House if you don't do that. By the way, even after this news broke, guess what Matt Gaetz is doing? Trying to make the case that McCarthy should be removed as Speaker. Because you can't please these people, ever. But anyway, that said, McCarthy is in a no-win situation. If he gets the far right what they want, he embarrasses the party. Because impeachment's going to fall flat. Or maybe he tries to grow a backbone. I know, laugh along with me, right? And call their bluff. And then these idiots shut down the government. Well, what do you think that's going to happen to polling of Republicans? Not going to be very good. Okay? So that's going to embarrass the party. So that's why you have, again, the Chris Christies, the Mitt Romneys of the world, you know, I would call them more establishment Republicans, saying, no, don't do that, don't do that. You know, if you shut down the government, by the way, and this is a very important point, that's going to hurt the corporations. It's going to hurt the donors. It's going to hurt Wall Street, okay? So you shut down the government enough, you might even have a credit down rating of the downgrading of the United States. So that's going to hurt investors. That's going to hurt corporate donors. And so establishment Republicans are like, no, for the love of God, don't push the button. Whereas Marjorie Greene's like, button? What button? I'll push it. Sure. Look, they actually think that maybe this is going to get them what they want. And that said, maybe Marjorie is slightly savvier because she's saying, whoa, 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 okay, let's not push the button yet. But I definitely want to push the button. Okay, well, anyway, it looks as though the button will be pushed as far as impeachment, okay? All right, well, go ahead, do it. We might as well get the popcorn ready because it's going to happen. The clown show is about to begin.